Welcome to the Monday Night Review. I'm Ben Conrad, and I have to start off with an apology for my tardiness. I spent all the New Year's Day extremely sick and wasn't able to get my show up and running until today. Listen, I don't drink while I'm sick, and I sure as hell don't podcast sober, but I'm here now. And I wish I could start my show off today on an uplifting, positive note to reign in the new year, but unfortunately, I woke up this morning to the news that the great Mean Gene Okerlund has passed away at 76 years old. Mean Gene was the voice of wrestling for a long time and the best interviewer perhaps in the history of wrestling. It was a privilege to have been around when I was early enough to enjoy his work, and he'll definitely be missed. Now, the last Monday Night Raw of 2018 was pre-taped, again, just like the Christmas edition. It was pre-taped from the toughest city on earth, Detroit, Michigan. This was just WWE and its employees. They were given a little bit of time off for the holidays, but they'll get back to a normal live schedule this week. Most of us aren't really patient enough to stay away from the spoilers. That's okay. You know, in my profession, I don't really have a choice in the matter, but the way the show comes across on TV is surely always going to be different than the way you read it. Okay, a clear example of that came in the opening match between Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. Now, I talk about it a lot, but I cannot stress enough the progress that Drew McIntyre has made since his return to NXT. You know, his physique is clearly worth mentioning, but this guy's attitude and confidence are what's going to set him apart from the pack. I mean, there's a spot in every match that McIntyre just loses his mind, just goes completely off the rails, completely bonkers, and it makes the Scottish psychopath more than just a nickname. You know, the way he lays into guys and grabs them by the hair while he's screaming at him while the camera's up in his face is just fantastic, and I'm glad he's been using that on a regular, every match basis. Now, this was a cage match, and after he won the match, he again mentioned the Royal Rumble and how he would go on to win and fulfill his destiny. Okay, remember, he was dubbed the Chosen One years ago by Triple H himself. And I think now he fully understands that he's more believable now than ever before. So to return to that Chosen One gimmick, I think is actually very, very smart. And I can't wait to see it play out. And props to Dolph Ziggler. You know, the dude can go. I've never felt even an ounce of disappointment after watching a Dolph Ziggler match. So props to him. Next, there was an in-ring promo that happened between Seth Rollins and Triple H. Basically, this was Hunter getting into Rollins' head and telling him he wants to see the old Seth Rollins. You know, the Rollins that destroyed anything and everything that got in his way, didn't play by the rules. That's Seth Rollins, the one that Triple H created. This turned into Rollins sort of showing his mean streak a little bit. He even went on to say he would take down Brock Lesnar if he got in the way. This wasn't by accident that he mentioned Lesnar, okay? For those of you who don't know, it's very likely that the WWE goes in the direction of Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar in the build-up to WrestleMania. Okay, now, Seth Rollins dropping the Intercontinental Championship to Dean Ambrose, that was step one. Step two now is making Rollins believable, making him look like a believable opponent for Lesnar. Step three is Rollins winning the title and officially becoming the face of WWE. That's step three. So be patient. It's all in good time. It'll happen. But right now, just enjoy step two while you can. The next match was a battle royal, with the winner getting a shot at Dean Ambrose's Intercontinental Championship later on in the night. The winner of this match was Apollo Crews, and I have absolutely no problem with that. This guy, I mean, he could definitely sharpen up his mic work, but athletically, he's an absolute freak of nature. And so, yeah, I don't have any problem with it whatsoever, but I don't want to take away from his win. There were other things that caught my attention more than that. For one thing, there were 14, let's see, 15, okay. Yeah, there were 14 lower to mid-carders working this match. And then you got sticking out like a sore thumb, Finn Balor. Why the hell was he in this match when he's supposed to be primed for his big push going into WrestleMania? You know, he was booked strong in this one with quite a few eliminations, but it was clear that he just didn't belong in this match. The crowd knew it, and the loudest boo of the night actually came when he was eliminated, which tells you something. But whatever, let's hope this was a one-time thing and that they get this guy back on track next week, because if not, you're all going to have to sit there and listen to Ben Conrad do a lot of bitching, and I can't afford to let my approval ratings slip if I'm going to compete with Jay's Tuesday Night Review. Yeah, right now, as we stand, my approval rating is somewhere between Black Licorice and Bill Cosby. So, listen, the point being, a push for Finn Balor is a win for all of us. Anyways, Apollo Crews does go on to lose to Dean Ambrose later on in the night, but again, I have no problem at all with him getting a little bit of TV time. Good for him. So, now let's talk about the stage 2 that I mentioned earlier, with building up the believability factor in Seth Rollins. He was in a match with Bobby Lashley, which for most of the match was exactly what you would expect. It was a good match, nothing over the top, and a lot of Lio Rush involvement near the end. Rollins eventually hit his breaking point and was DQ'd after a chair shot to Lashley. And then he goes to town on both Lashley and Lio Rush simultaneously with a chair before stomping Lio Rush in the middle of the ring. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Stage 2. It's the minor adjustment to Rollins' character that's eventually going to play a big part in the main event of WrestleMania. So pay close attention. Let's see. This isn't a match that I want to talk about, but I think it's worth mentioning that Rhino got some TV time in his hometown in Detroit. It was Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers versus Rhino and Heath Slater in a handicap match. The Detroit crowd popped for Rhino like they always do, and as a Detroiter myself, I like to see Rhino get a little bit of face time when he can. You know, and apparently so did everybody else at the Little Caesars Arena, so I just thought it was worth mentioning. Love me some Rhino. Now, the main event of the night was Ronda Rousey and Natalya versus Tamina Snuka and Nia Jax. I could sit here and dissect this match move by move, offer my analysis, or I could just tell you that Ronda Rousey made Tamina Snuka tap out with the armbar. Give you all time to recover before Jay's Tuesday Review hits your Twitter feed later today. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the latter. Thanks again, everyone, for giving me an extra day to fight off whatever the hell I came down with, and I hope you tune in again next week. You can find every episode of both mine and Jay's review shows at throwthex.com, as well as our flagship Saturday show, Throw the Podcast. We're also found on Podbean, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Google Play, Podbean. I think I said that twice already. Who cares? iTunes, Stitcher. Guys, we're everywhere. Check us out. Twitter at TTX Wrestling. Tweet at me. See y'all on Saturday.